سيداتي وسادتي، نبدأ أعمال الملتقى بالكلمة الافتتاحية التي تلقيها الدكتورة ابتسام الكتبي رئيسة مركز الإمارات للسياسات، فلتتفضل مشكورة. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the ADSD proceedings with opening remarks by EPC President Dr. Ebtesam Al Ketbi. Dr. Al Ketbi, the floor is all yours.
Your Excellencies, dear distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you and good morning to you all. It is my honor to talk to you today in this 12th Abu Dhabi strategic debate, which became an annual platform that gathers different elites, politicians, and experts to discuss different issues regarding the global and regional order, and to give an additional value in prospection and analysis. And this is a contribution by Abu Dhabi as a capital in the strategic dialogues of the international and regional politics. This edition is held under the theme Shaping Hegemony and Adapting to a New Global Order. Ladies and gentlemen, the international order, which was established 80 years ago, is witnessing a lot of troubles currently. And this indicates that it will no longer continue as it is. There are different examples of that, like the failure of the international order to stop the war on Gaza. And the United Nations said that clearly. Many statements have been made about this, how can the liberal system and order see this destiny after the stop of the war in Gaza? And it is, by the way, a very valuable achievement, but still Ukraine and Russia are still in conflict and war. In addition to that, there are several forgotten wars and many conflicts which necessitate the diplomacy of the international order in order to spare lives and to stop conflicts. There is a wisdom that says that the continuity of wars is a reflection of the failure of the international politics. The stop of these wars is an indication that the leaders of the world are in the right direction and that diplomacy and law are doing well, and they are outperforming the weapons and the weaponry. So I think that every one of us is keen to see stability, prosperity of our peoples, and more dignity, prosperity, and justice. It's why the enhancement of stability and security in the Middle East is a strategic interest for the United Arab Emirates, including protecting the civilians and the infrastructure of the civilians, like the hospitals, schools, and also worshiping places. The approach of the United Arab Emirates is not based on intervention, but it is supporting the stability of countries like Syria, Sudan, Lebanon, Yemen, and also the Palestinian occupied territories, Gaza, West Bank, and East Jerusalem. The United Arab Emirates wishes that one day soon we'll see a Palestinian state that lives together with the people of Israel peacefully and in a spirit of collaboration and stability. In addition to that, the UAE diplomacy confirmed repeatedly that we have the right as peoples to have a sustainable life and dignity for all the citizens. The United Arab Emirates as well said that the Palestinian people in the Palestinian occupied land and the Arabs in the Golan Heights that is also occupied are witnessing and facing a lot of restrictions that prevent them to exercise this right in benefiting from their resources. Ladies and gentlemen, the themes that will be discussed in this edition reflects that we are in a crossroad. There is a situation of uncertainty geopolitically and economically, and this tendency is increasing. We saw some shocks, some variable instabilities in the economy, in the finance markets, and uncertainty regarding the supply chains, in addition to other aspects of instability and uncertainty. The 12th Abu Dhabi strategic debate talks openly and frankly about a new international order in which the hegemony changes and in which the countries adapt and are more resilient in dealing with this new era in which there is more militarization of different countries. There is a new way of changes and the trends that cannot be expected easily. And of course, all the classical trends that have emerged recently are now different. And through decades, we can say that despite the gaps and the problems and despite the calls to develop them, we need a different approach. Consequently, we have to say that the world is changing with the change of the United States. The critics are saying that the protectionism and the unilateralism is undermining the liberal order, and that the populism and the similar trends are getting more and more spreading, getting more and more popularity in the different countries, and this is at the expense of values like justice, equality, and multilateralism. And in spite of the recognition of the increasing influence of the United States and the unprecedented hegemony of the influence of US in every single part of the world, we still ask the question, what is the position of US regarding this issue or the other? Still, we have to talk about the role of technology and restriction to the supply chains. And in case the mutual interests are not guaranteed, we wonder whether the international order will see a change and will witness some development in the tools being used. And we also wonder whether the competitors around the world would see different games, whether we need a San Francisco conference that is new in order to update the norms and the laws of the world. And the other scenario that is circulating is that this current situation will lead to more polarization, and this will lead to different criteria in terms of structures and governance. Ladies and gentlemen, the 12th Abu Dhabi strategic debate will trigger these questions in order to reach more depth and to find more comprehensive answers. And this will be done through the experts and the speakers from different perspectives. And by doing so, we will allow the transformative ideas to enlighten us about whether we can forge a new international order, an international order in which the Gulf can contribute. And of course, if we look at last year edition of the Abu Dhabi Strategic Debate, we discussed similar issues but differently. Ladies and gentlemen, we will also discuss the artificial intelligence and the quantum computing and the nanotechnology and the next generation tools that will rewrite our lifestyle. And this debate will trigger questions about the increasing influence of those who possess the rare earth minerals and also the impact of the artificial intelligence, AGI and ASI on the reshaping of the international order and the competition on the future economy and the possibility of emerging powers. Ladies and gentlemen, there is now a new generation of artificial intelligence. It's why the United Arab Emirates is preparing its infrastructure in a smart way in order to be leading in the transformation from an economic model that is based on knowledge to the new model of economy. And this is the roadmap to the future economy. And from this perspective, the government of the United Arab Emirates has prioritized the empowerment of the new economic actors, including the artificial intelligence, the advanced technology, the digital businesses, and also the renewable energy, in addition to the circular economy and the green technologies, in addition to new media and fintech, in addition to the smart transportation. In the first panel, this debate will shed light on that particular angle through the presentations of several speakers, and we'll have with us His Excellency Dr. Omar Sultan Al Ulama, who is the Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Digital Economy and Remote Work Applications. We'll ask the question how the UAE managed to move from leading in the artificial intelligence to other aspects of the future economy. Ladies and gentlemen, dear valued guests, the Middle East changed tremendously since the 7th of October 2023, and the gap between the change and the development is still large. And the speakers today will try in these 2 days to prospect the different shapes of the new Middle East and the maps of influence and the order of the major actors and powers. We will also talk about the political changes and transformations in Israel and the divides in the Israeli society and the changes in the military doctrine of Israel, in addition to the repercussions of that on the Palestinian cause and on its reputation in the region and its relation with the international order and even with the future of Israel itself. We'll also look at the strategy of Iran regionally. We will discuss that issue in this edition. As well, we will talk about the new Syria, Lebanon, and the changes in the Levant, and also the restructuring of this region and how the Gulf is integrating in all these dynamic changes. So how this region is entering a new era after the defeat of the militias and after this resurgence of the national state, and how these fragile countries after different conflict are going to re-emerge and develop themselves, and how the different problems that are still remaining cast doubt on several optimistic views. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoy this debate, and I wish our guests an enjoyable stay. And thank you very much for attending this debate and for accepting our invitation. I hope that the speakers and all the participants engage fruitfully and constructively in the debate. Now, I'm pleased to invite His Excellency Dr. Anwar Gargash, Diplomatic Advisor to the UAE President. We are always honored to have him in the Abu Dhabi strategic debate and to listen to his ideas that reflect the different approaches of the foreign policy of the UAE. I invite him to deliver the keynote speech.